So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining. Let us start. And before we read the opening aspiration, let's gather our mind, bring it back in the body if not already. So we keep on bringing back mind home in the body because I think all of us by now we are aware, as Jetsunma says, that as if we have a velcro and it just keeps on sticking everywhere, like hooks it has. And from time to time, things become so attractive, important to be attended outside of us that we lose ourselves in that. So, from time to time, we keep bringing ourselves back home. So, today we start with verse 10. And before we take up verse 10, let's read the opening aspiration. So, if anyone would like to read, please unmute and go ahead.
With boundless compassion and wisdom, I will work for the welfare of all. May we be free from hunger and discord, and have joy and world at peace. And have joy and a world at peace. So while just looking at this, I know we have reflected on it several times. This hunger, usually when we hear hunger, it's just hungry for food, right? But here it would also be equivalent to maybe desire, right? Like just this grasping, this stickiness that you were talking about. So all this would fall under hunger. Yeah.
Yeah. So, let us take verse 10. Yes, I found it. So today it's the next level of verses start from today, from verse 10, valuing others. And there are many aspects to these few lines that we will be reading, which I hope we'll be touching upon, because truth is never a formula. And if we stick to something or some line like a formula, we are bound to fail, because in many contexts it would not be holding true. It would lose its significance in many contexts. So that's why they always say that, the kind of aspiration that we were reading in the beginning, boundless compassion and wisdom. So wisdom along with compassion is very much necessary. Otherwise we are just blind and we don't know what we are doing, is it benefiting or not. So yeah, let's see how much we touch upon. So who would like to read today? Valuing others, maybe say 2 paragraphs, the first page.
Yes, I will start.
Okay, yes.
If all the mothers who have loved me since beginningless
time are suffering, what is the use of my own happiness? So, with the aim of liberating limitless sentient beings, to set my mind on enlightenment is the practice of a bodhisattva. I'll read it again. If all the mothers who have loved me since beginningless time are suffering, what is the use of my happiness? So, with the aim of liberating limitless sentient beings, to set my mind on enlightenment is the practice of a bodhisattva. The first level of aspiration is seeing that samsara is important, is impermanent, and understanding that outer acquisitions are not going to make us happy. Since everything is impermanent, we should strive for liberation or nirvana. Get me out. When really in the depths of our heart, we recognize the uncertainty, the insecurity in samsara, no matter where we are, then, like being trapped in a prison house, we search for the key to escape. I once dreamed that I was wandering through an immense prison. There were luxurious penthouse suites with people at cocktail parties, and there were other rooms in which people were working or talking and laughing or crying. Then, way down deep, were the dungeons where the inmates were suffering, being tortured, and despairing. But I recognized that regardless of whether one was up there in the penthouse or down there in the dungeons, it was all a prison. Those up in the penthouse today could be down in the dungeons tomorrow, or vice versa.
Yeah, so the dream continues, but we will go ahead later with the dream. So first we take up this page and maybe reflect a little bit. So here the word mothers, if all the mothers who have loved me, why they are using the word mothers? Because in Buddhism they feel, which of course has value and quite possibly true also, going even logically. They say that all the people that are around us, we have to respect and care for them and treat them nicely because each one has been our mother in one of the lifetimes in the past. Because since countless lifetimes we have been journeying as a soul consciousness, and each creature, each human being has been our mother. So that's why they're using, if all the mothers who have loved me since beginningless time are suffering, it means referring to people around me and even far away from me. If those people are suffering, who have loved me as mothers, who were my mothers since beginningless time, then what is the use of my happiness, my own happiness? So, with the aim of liberating limitless sentient beings, to set my mind on enlightenment is the practice of a bodhisattva. So, it's very interesting to see that right now in this verse, they are not just like directly hitting at that, let me go and, just save the being. They are not just saying that. They are saying with the aim of liberating limitless sentient beings to set my mind on enlightenment. Because we cannot truly benefit or help a person if we ourselves are not operating from a true consciousness. So to jump in these waters of doing charity and helping is at times it's not, it kind of, we fall on our nose again and again because we are not operating from true consciousness. So why I want enlightenment? Not for my own sake, because I know that when I know myself, when I am closer to myself, when I am identified with my true consciousness, then I can actually be of benefit to others around me. And because only then I can benefit me also. Otherwise, we are actually torturing ourselves mostly in ignorance. So when I stop torturing myself to a relative degree, then I also begin to be helpful for the beings around me. So this we have to see, because many a times in wanting to stop kind of help liberating sentient beings. Yeah, so the question is, what does liberating sentient beings mean in this context? Liberating, see, we all are trapped. How are we trapped? We are trapped in our limited self, in our egoistic consciousness. We suffer in that consciousness. So when I am suffering in that consciousness, the countless number of beings around me are also suffering in that limited, suffocated consciousness. So when we connect with our own suffering and pain and misery of being a limited ego and being identified with the limited self, then we realize that, oh my God, this is the suffering that each one of us goes through. So I want to liberate myself also of this suffering, and hence I want to liberate others also. I want to share with them that this is possible, that life is not made for suffering. But this can only be possible when I transcend my own suffering also. Because when I am continuing to suffer and I have no way out, that's what Jetsunma now is sharing in her dream. That first you escape, and then you, of course, whoever wants to escape out of this prison of ego. And ego consciousness is the samsaric consciousness. They are not saying that, oh, let go of this world and not be born again. It's not about that. In fact, a bodhisattva aspiration is that I want to be born again and again, because if I am beneficial, if the presence is beneficial, I want to be born again and again. So it's not about my misery or my satisfaction. It is about what benefit I can bring to others around me. So I'll be born again and again for the divine work. So to be liberated from first your own suffering and pain and ego consciousness, at least in relative degrees, and then we become to be able to benefit others around us. That it is not necessary to suffer if you have a mortal life, you are a human being. Life is not made for suffering. That we realize only when we are able to transcend our own suffering. जब हमें पता लगता है कि अपनी ईगो कॉन्शियसनेस की वजह से ही हम सफर करते हैं, बार बार खुद ही. वी वर रीडिंग दोज लाइन्स इन सावित्री, आई थिंक yesterday, that how we cling to our own misery. When we stop clinging to our own misery, we make a choice every moment, then we don't need to suffer. We can do many, many good things while being alive. So then we are able to benefit others and liberate others also from that prison of ego consciousness. So it's liberation from that prison of ego consciousness. So the first paragraph says, the first level of aspiration that we were earlier continuing. Yes, yeah, this dream has been shared also in a talk, has been shared, yeah. But we'll go through this dream in detail. So the first level of aspiration is seeing that samsara is impermanent. It means that all the material things are fleeting, whether they are people around me, no matter how close they are to me, it doesn't matter. They are fleeting. We have all seen loved ones go away, die. One moment they are there, the other moment they are not there physically, right? So we know that even people around me who appear so concrete, houses, a tsunami comes, gone, ruins are left, maybe not. So everything material, situations, life situations, jobs, power, name, fame, respect, anything that is given to us by the world can be taken away any which moment, and that is what it means by that samsara is impermanent. By that it also means that our thoughts and feelings are impermanent. They are also samsaric in nature. Abhi ek moment, if we remember our life, look back at our life, at one moment of time we were so passionate about something which now we are not bothering about. what happened to that thing? So samsara is impermanent, and understanding that outer acquisitions are not going to make us happy. So name, fame, respect, appreciation, approval, relationships, work, name anything, that cannot make us happy, because it is fleeting. And if it is bringing us happiness, the moment it is taken away, it will bring us a lot of sadness. So we are totally a puppet. Since everything is impermanent, we should strive for liberation, means to be not puppeted around by those outer happenings or our thoughts, feelings, and outer approvals from people. We should strive for liberation or nirvana, means I don't want to be now a slave of these outer happenings. That is nirvana. And according to Sri Aurobindo, for integral yoga, the first step of integral yoga is nirvana, which in many yogas is the last step. That nirvana, liberation from the ego consciousness, that's it. But his work doesn't end there, his work starts there, because transformation comes only after a release from the ego consciousness. So since everything is impermanent, we should strive for liberation or nirvana, means not to be puppeted around by them. Get me out. You don't want to be a puppet of pleasure and pain anymore. You don't want to be puppet of respect and disappointment or rejection anymore. When really in the depths of our heart, we recognize the uncertainty, the insecurity. We become very insecure when we are in samsara, when everything in us is dependent on the outer situations. अच्छा, अगर किसी ने अच्छा बोल दिया तो बड़े खुश हो जाएंगे, तो फिर बड़ी मुश्किल होती है, बिकॉज कभी भी वो बंदा गंदा भी बोल सकता है, कुछ भी, है ना. सो वी बिकम इनसिक्योर कि अच्छा कल इसने मेरा साथ छोड़ दिया तो, है ना. एंड देन वी बिकम, दिस इज व्हाट इनसिक्योरिटी इज अबाउट, कि अभी आपको किसी बाहर के बंदे से इतना कुछ मिल रहा है, सो वी बिकम अटैच्ड. और कल अगर वो बंदा नहीं है तो क्या मिलेगा, नहीं मिलेगा. सो वी बिकम वेरी इनसिक्योर. व्हाट इफ यू गो अवे? These kind of thoughts and feelings come to us. We feel panicky about it, because right now that other person we may think that the person is bringing us pleasure. So now, in order to avoid pain, we become insecure. Just one little window to our insecurity. There are many others also. So if we remain a puppet of the outer movements, even the inner movements are movements, then we are always insecure and in the grip of samsaric consciousness or the duality. So that we don't want now for ourselves. We have done that enough. So in the first paragraph it is shared that when really in the depths of our heart, we need to be convinced we have ran enough now. कबीर का दोहा हमने करके देखा practically. दौड़ा दौड़ा दौड़िया, हाँ दौड़ा दौड़ा खूब दौड़ा. अब when really in the depths of our heart we recognize the uncertainty, the insecurity in samsara, no matter where we are, you may be in a beautiful company or your best place that where you want to work, and even there we can be subject to outer approvals and appreciation and still a slave of people around us. आज उसने प्रेस कर दी तो बड़े खुश हो गए, एलिवेट हो गए, अपलिफ्ट हो गए, और आज उसने कुछ बोल दिया कि भाई तुम्हारा तो काम ठीक नहीं है, तुम तो ये क्या कर रहे हो, एकदम से मूड बन गया आपका. So now you have done that enough. We all have done that enough, and now if we feel tired of that, there comes the conviction that nahi, ab aur nahi, ab aur nahi. So then comes the conviction to go further. So the insecurity in samsara, no matter where we are, could be a very beautiful place, and people may be jealous of you that, oh my God, you are there, people may be jealous of you, but it doesn't matter. Like being trapped in a prison house, we search for the key to escape. So here is where comes the use of our suffering. Here is where comes the use of all of us who have had enough pain in our life owing to the outer situations. If we have been puppeted enough, तब हमारे अंदर से, as Jetsunma says, deep from the heart within, एक आवाज आती है, वो कहती है बस अब नहीं. And then we are ready to progress further. Then we are ready to transcend duality and to transcend our ego consciousness. As we were reading yesterday in Rishabh Chandji's In the Mother's Light, that on the floor of ego consciousness, always and always you will be insecure. है ना. ईगो रहते हुए, बीइंग आइडेंटिफाइड विद द ईगो, कोई छुटकारा नहीं है इनसिक्योरिटी से. सो वी विल हैव टू चेंज अवर फ्लोर्स, विच मीन्स डिसआइडेंटिफाई एंड स्टेप बैक फ्रॉम द लिमिटेड इगोइस्टिक सेल्फ. वो करना पड़ेगा. उसके अलावा मुक्ति नहीं है, उस तल पे मुक्ति नहीं है. So this is what, and then Jetsunma talks about her experience, her dream, that she was dreaming that she is wandering through an immense prison, and although the decorations are different, some are penthouses and some are dungeons, but it's a prison after all. You know, it may be a beautiful walls around you, but they are still walls. And then yes, yeah, we go further where she, yeah, I think it would be nice to now go ahead with the dream, so that we can get the essence out of it. So if anyone would like to read, complete the dream, 1, 2, 3, 3 paragraphs, please go ahead. मैं ही पढ़ देती हूँ. कोई है? रिंकू, yeah, please.
It was so insecure and we had to get out. In the dream, I went around saying to people, look, we are in prison. How do we escape? Most people answered, yeah, maybe it's a prison, but it is okay. People weren't alarmed. I said, no, you don't understand. It is so uncertain. We don't know what is going to happen to us. We are all caught in here. We've got to get out. But people said that either it was all right, really, or it wasn't worth the trouble trying to escape because there was no way to leave. Eventually, I found a few friends who agreed to come with me. There was a boat moored on a stream that ran through the prison, and there were guards on watch, but they didn't try to stop us. We got on this flat boat and floated down through the stream until we got outside the prison. On the outside, there was a road running parallel to the prison, so we started running and running. On one side, we could see the prison looming, the high walls full of windows, inside of which we could see vignettes of people dancing, singing, dancing, laughing, crying, and working. We kept on running. The prison seemed endless, and I was exhausted. At first, I thought, it is not worth it. Let's go back again. But then I thought, I am not running just for my own sake. If I stop running and go back, then my friends who are following will go back too. So for their sake, I have to keep running. As soon as this thought occurred, as soon as I stopped thinking about running just for myself, the prison ended and another road appeared, running perpendicular to the road we were running on, and the dream carried on from there.
So another friend I know had a similar kind of a dream where there was very kind of high walls, very concrete, dark walls, and on the inside of the walls there were like very traditional women, some, you know, belonging to many religious cultures, which were very, like, they were keeping them captivated and in tradition and like suffocated, limited. So this person, my friend, she was walking through these corridors, and she was of course feeling very suffocated being walking, you know, through those traditional, customized, very suffocated and limiting corridors. And then she felt that no, you know, this is not right, I don't need to be here, you know, I have to escape. And she started running, and then she saw through those walls, on the other side she saw a very big, huge gate, and on that gate there was mother's symbol. and then she was able to cross over and traverse and get away from those walls. So it was, I felt quite similar in that sense. So the thing is that some of us may not even feel that we are in a prison. That's what Jetsunma is sharing, that people are dancing, laughing, working, and they feel, yeah, maybe it's a prison, but how do I care? I'm doing fine. And that is where it's like masters have said that please wake up, because you keep on sleeping awake to your senses. You're just consuming through your senses, eating, sleeping, reproducing, eliminating. That's what we are doing all the time, and enjoying things, the glitters around, but you're not doing what you are supposed to do. So wake up, wake up. But it cannot be somehow forced, this waking up. And whenever we are ready, at least when we feel that we are ready, we can embark upon the journey and then not look back, because maybe looking back then becomes impossible. So we will take some things from Savitri also today, regarding how we keep sleeping and keep rejecting the higher light, and how a bodhisattva, which is reflected in this verse, a bodhisattva, when he realizes that no, this is not good neither for me being suffocated nor for other people, he chooses, first he gains enlightenment, in the sense walks on the path of enlightenment, but after that he has to return back to the earth, turn again towards the earth, so as to not leave the other people again trapped. But we cannot do it, we cannot have a shortcut. That's what I want to say. In Savitri also it comes that Savitri wants, she doesn't want the light of the everlasting day, because she says, what will I do with it? I want everything for earth and men. But first she has the everlasting day. She has found her soul. She has embarked upon that journey. Now she can say that no, okay, I don't want light only for myself, I want it for all the people that are living with me on earth. So we have to see that we can give to others only when we have something. If I have darkness, I will give only spill darkness around. But if I walk on the path of light, because I know darkness is not leading me anywhere, then light can spill around. That is what we have to see. So we don't have to rush to help others before we have done the required things in ourselves. That would never work, because there we'll actually end up doing more harm in our ignorant consciousness rather than trying to maybe benefit. So that we may take from Savitri today. It's resonating. So anything so far, anyone on the dream or our own dream or anything else? Also, what happens is that when we give ourselves some higher work, now this liberation from ego is a very higher work. We all know that it's not an easy process. When we give ourselves this work, then आप ये बोलते हो कि अरे मतलब है ना, so because you are doing something which also is for yourself, but now you can't take a U-turn. After a point, you are choiceless, you can't take a U-turn. So no matter how much pain you have to go through, one chooses just to go further and further only. There comes a time in our life. So even this task, which appears very inward, of getting liberated from our own suffocation and prison within, it appears an inward task, as if very individual, but it is actually a social responsibility. If each one can embark upon that journey, then we can benefit each other much better, rather than working from all the time darkness. Yeah, you can't unsee. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So let us, If not anything, you can share if there is anything, but if not, let's maybe take a few lines from Savitri where the canto is, it's called Soul's Choice and Supreme Consummation. Just a second. And before that, we have to see that many cantos have passed. So finding of the soul has passed, going to the inner countries, that has gone away, and now it is soul's choice and supreme consummation, where Savitri has to choose what you want. So that we take. $687. Yeah, so now she's been uh, she is being convinced that please, you better leave the earth as it is, because it's a very difficult task and there is no need for Satyavan to be there alive again, because nothing can happen actually to earth consciousness. They are just doomed. So you better go for your own light rather than asking light for everything. So now Savitri chooses, and yeah, here. So she's asking, give back the other self, my nature asks, Satyavan, which is the soul consciousness which has fallen in the grip of death and darkness. She's asking for him to be alive again. Give back the other self, my nature asks. Thy spaces need him not to help their joy. Earth needs his beautiful spirit made by thee to fling delight down like a net of gold. Earth is the chosen place of mightiest souls. Earth is the heroic spirit's battlefield, the forge where the archmason shapes his works. Thy servitudes on earth are greater, King, than all the glorious liberties of heaven. So this is exactly the Bodhisattva attitude which we are reading right now, that I don't need the light just for myself, which of course I have access to, but I need it for all the fellow men, fellow creatures. And then she is saying, I have done that, the heavens were once to me my natural home. I too have wandered in star-jeweled grooves. Then imperfect is the joy not shared by all. But I don't want this joy only for myself. I want it also for all the fellow men. Too far thy heavens for me from suffering men. Imperfect is the joy not shared by all. And then again, if we go further, we see that she is being convinced that तुच्छ लोगों का कुछ नहीं होने वाला, छोड़ दो इनको. But then she is not convinced with that. She says कि नहीं, ये टुच्चे नहीं है. God can be here, जिनको आप टुच्चा कह रहे हो. So let's take a few lines from there also. Yeah. So now that voice that is coming from the far heavens, it says that nobody listens really, कि क्या फायदा है. Heaven's call is rare, rarer the heart that heeds. The doors of light are sealed to common mind. So this is what the voice tells Savitri, that you are putting your effort in waste. कुछ नहीं होने वाला, मेहनत कर लो इनके ऊपर. Because this is what happens with the mortal beings, that first of all the heaven's call is rare, plus rarer the heart that heeds. Nobody is caring to listen to the true call, why we are here and what is the mission of human beings on earth. Nobody cares for it. The doors of light are sealed to common mind. In common ordinary consciousness, we cannot see the true purpose of our being here. Only in an uplifting hour of stress, men answer to the touch of greater things. This we will have seen with our own lives, that whenever we are truly in trouble and really want to now get out of that trouble and seek truly some light, then actually we allow the heavens touch, as if, the heaven is touching you. Then we allow that touch to be upon us, otherwise we repel that touch. आप बोलोगे यार मुझे शादी में जाने तो दे, क्यों नहीं जाना, मतलब क्या डलनेस है, शादी वादी नहीं अटेंड करें, हाँ क्या मतलब है, क्या लाइफ जी रहे हैं हम। और एकदम से अभी आपको मार पड़े और मे बी योर हेल्थ इज नॉट ओके, कैंसर हो गया, कुछ हो गया, तो एकदम से हमारी बिल्कुल सीधे हो जाते हैं, एकदम से बिल्कुल ऐसा लगता है कि हाँ कौन से गुरु के पास जाएं, क्या बातें सुने। सो नॉट टू जोक अबाउट अवर सेल्व्स, बट दैट इज हाउ वी आर। Without this heavy touch of stress, we don't wake up. So only in an uplifting hour of stress. So he's calling hour of stress as uplifting, because there we want to truly seek light. Only in an uplifting hour of stress, men answer to the touch of greater things. Otherwise you repel that touch of greater things, you don't like it, and you stay away from that person mostly. Or raised by some strong hand to breathe heaven here, they slide back to the mud from which they climbed. So this happens with us from time to time, that in the difficult most situations in our life, we may have made an exponential progress, touched heights and in ourselves deeper consciousnesses, but we slip back again into our own ordinary consciousness again. They slide back to the mud from which they climbed, in the mud of which they are made, whose law they know, they joy in safe return to a friendly base. बड़ा familiar लगता है वो ordinary consciousness के समोसे, पकोड़े, चाट, बहुत familiar लगता है। वही gossip से भरी हुई बातें, इधर की उधर करना, complaints करना, वो सब इतना familiar लगता है कि we just again and again slip back into that. They joy in safe return to a friendly base. कि हाँ अब राहत आई, this feels like myself. And though something in them weeps for glory lost and greatness murdered, they accept their fall. That we are like that. यही तो करना है, as a humans ही तो हैं, like that. To be the common man, they think the best. To live as others live is their delight. कि सभी तो कर रहे हैं, सब शादियां कर रहे हैं, करवा रहे हैं, सब सेलिब्रेशंस अटेंड कर रहे हैं, सब डेस्टिनेशन whatever weddings and celebrations कर रहे हैं, बच्चे पैदा कर रहे हैं, तो हम क्यों ना करें, यही तो नॉर्मल है, हम क्यों ना नॉर्मल बने। So to live as others live is their delight. Human average is their level pitch, a thinking animal's material range. So Savitri is being told that there is no point doing this because कुछ नहीं होने वाला अर्थ कॉन्शियसनेस का। Yeah, and then since anyway we are all evolving and evolution has to happen, so that voice says, leave to its imperfect light the earthly race. Don't touch it, let it happen. In the way of time it will happen. थप्पड़ खा के सीखेंगे, इधर उधर धक्के खाएंगे, सीखेंगे, सब सीखते हैं धक्के खा के। Leave to its imperfect light the earthly race. All shall be done by the long act of time. So mother talks us, shares about this, this image where she makes a direct path to the divine, and then she makes a winding path to the divine. So winding path is already in action. We are all headed towards our true consciousness only. But as human beings, we have the possibility of doing it consciously. But that voice says that if they want to do it unconsciously, let them do. क्यों करना है, तूने क्यों हेल्प करनी है उसकी, but Savitri is not buying. O flame, withdraw into thy luminous self. So go into your luminosity and just leave rest of the darkness as it is. No need to help them. Now, we'll just take a few lines of Savitri because this is what shares with us the Bodhisattva aspiration. But Savitri answered to the radiant God, in vain thou temptest with solitary bliss two spirits saved out of a suffering world, my soul and his, indissolubly linked in the one task for which our lives were born, to raise the world to God in deathless light, to bring down God to the world on earth we came, to change the earthly life to life divine. I keep my will to save the world and man, and I sacrifice not the earth to happier worlds. So you are promising me happier worlds, but वो मेरे किसी काम के नहीं है, because this is the task now I have to do. So what I wanted to share earlier, and also we have to see that many cantos are taken care of in Savitri. She has found the soul consciousness. She knows in touch with her deeper consciousness. Now she is able to say that I don't want all that light just for myself. I want it for all my fellow men. Imperfect is the joy not shared with all. And we will see that अगर हम अपना जीवन देखें अभी तो we are abundant in some senses, but we are not abundant in some other senses. For example, material prosperity की जहाँ तक बात करते हैं, many of us may be in a condition where we have enough. We don't have to beg from others to live a life. Now, when I have abundant food and abundant money, now it makes sense to share it around, because it is no point accumulating for myself. But there are many aspects in which I don't have abundance. So first, to get that abundance within, to get in touch with the true fountain of abundance within, which is our true consciousness, so that we can be of benefit to others. That is what is meant by this verse, that I want to go for enlightenment so as I can benefit others around me, because without that I am just a blind man amongst blind men. What can I help? How can I help? Whatever help I extend, maybe I am doing something wrong. How do I know? So that is why that becomes the primary motive of our living, to always keep in touch with our true consciousness. That is why we do give time to meditative practices, or bring the mind to breath, become, see ourselves as the consciousness witnessing all the happenings of our life, rather than the content of thoughts and feelings. Yeah, so anything here, anyone? Okay, so we can then go ahead, if not anything. So would anyone want to read, starting from verse 9, deals with striving for the, starting from here and maybe taking a couple of paragraphs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Verse 9 deals with striving for the supreme level of unchanging liberation. We are aiming for nirvana in order to escape from samsara. However, there is a problem here. But 1 second, I cannot see it. Okay. However, there is a problem here. The traditional example of this is a burning house. The house is on fire, and there is a huge blaze, but we have managed to get out. but our parents, our children, our loved ones, and our cat are still in the burning house. Can we just walk away? No. We have to go back in and try to get them out of that burning house. We wouldn't just leave them inside to burn to death. We would take the fact that we ourselves are out as the reason to help pull them out too. Another example is that we are all drowning in the swamp of samsara, but we have finally managed to get onto dry land. Yet, looking back, we see our loved ones who are all drowning. Who would say, "You're drowning? Sorry about that, but I'm on dry land." So you can take me as an example and swim hard. I hope you can get on dry land too. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so we can't do that, right? So if we see that there are lots of people where we were, and now we are out of that swamp or a burning house, we can't leave somehow. It has been given to us that we can't leave them burning like that. We can't do that. So that's what is shared in these two paragraphs, that it is not possible for us to do that. Now, how to go forward is what comes next, and then it gets shared about the verse number 10, that what is happening now in verse 10. So how would one do that? We can't do that. In fact, one would say, okay, now that I am on the dry land, I must get some rope or use my hands to draw these people out too. Come a bit closer, I am going to pull you out. We can use that firm land where we are standing to help pull everybody else out. Now we have to see here that we are now on firm land. You are not in the swamp anymore. You are not in the burning house anymore. That step has already happened. So that now I become able to benefit others. This we have to see. So being in the swamp, if we are trying to give each other our hands, then we will all drown together, right? So we can use that firm land now where we are to help pull everybody else out. We would not let our mother drown in front of us if we could prevent it, or our children, or our partner, our friends, or anybody, even a street dog, we would try to rescue. Of course we would. This brings us to the next level of motivation, which was mentioned earlier and is called Bodhisattva. Bodhi means enlightenment or awakening, and Chitta means heart or mind. So Bodhisattva means the mind of enlightenment or spirit of awakening. It's that awakened heart quality that helps us to travel the spiritual path, not just so that we feel better, but so that we can help others to feel better too. Through wisdom and compassion, both. Through wisdom and compassion, one is in the position to benefit beings in a meaningful way. So now she is taking this paragraph from the other book, The Heart of Compassion, where Rinpoche says, the bodhicitta of intention, of aspiration, has two aspects: compassion, that I want to help you, that your heart goes out to another to help; compassion, which is directed towards beings; and wisdom, which is directed towards enlightenment. So the heart is open to out to help, but also wisdom is there, how to help, in what way to help. है ना, एक कबीर का दोहा है, he says, बंधे को बंधा मिला, छूटे कौन उपाय. कि अब ये दो लोग चिपक गए हैं आपस में, बंधे को बंधा मिला. अभी भी वो बंधा हुआ है, दूसरा भी बंधा हुआ है संसारा में, इगोइस्टिक कॉन्शियसनेस में। दो चिपचिपे लोग हैं, वो चिपक गए, आजा मैं तेरी हेल्प करूं तू मेरी हेल्प करे, वो चिपक गए आपस में। बंधे को बंधा मिले छूटे कौन उपाय, अब वो दोनों चिपक गए जाके। कर बंदगी निर्बंध की पल में ले छुड़ाए। तो वो कह रहे हैं कि जो अगर आपको बंदगी करनी भी है, इफ यू हैव टू क्लिंग टू एनीवन, टू हैव टू बी फ्रेंड्स, you know, tightly clinging to anyone, let it be one who is not clingy anymore. निर्बंध, जो किसी से भी बंधा नहीं हुआ, डिवाइन। कर बंदगी निर्बंध की पल में ले छुड़ाए। So when we are all walking towards truth consciousness, nothing on my mind but truth, then we will not be sticky to each other. But in our ignorance, we are all sticky. And that is why they bring this aspect of wisdom, not ignorance. They are not saying in compassion and ignorance, let me stretch out my heart to everyone. They are not saying, they could have said that, right? But they are saying in compassion and wisdom. So do I have wisdom? Do I have that discerning quality in me? We have to keep checking. That is the Bodhisattva aspiration. So wisdom which is directed towards enlightenment. Let me be connected to my true consciousness again and again fully, to a greater degree, so that I can be truly compassionate, truly do good for the other person and not make me stick to the other person. So neither aspect by itself, either the mere wish to benefit beings or the mere wish to attain enlightenment, expresses bodhicitta. So the bodhicitta level of aspiration is combined compassion and wisdom. Otherwise it's a blind bhakti. A bhakti without gyan is a blind bhakti. And gyan without bhakti is dry. So both are required. Bhakti and gyan, love and wisdom, both are required. And when we practice, continue our own practice, inward practice, then by time it happens that we are in touch with our true consciousness in a greater and greater degree. So all that we are able to do is just benefit, and we are not able to harm others because we are not coming from that consciousness. So if you do not aim at attaining ultimate enlightenment, then however strong your wish to benefit beings may be, you will never go beyond the ordinary kindness and compassion. है ना, कि थोड़ा सा किसी को खाना खिला दिया, थोड़ा किसी को पैसे दे दिए. This is like what we can do. Even in ignorance we can do that very easily, and it's good, we must do that also. No, but we will not be able to go beyond and truly benefit. No, किसी को आपने capable बना दिया. एक है आपने किसी को खाना दे दिया, एक टाइम का खाना दे दिया, अच्छा 2 टाइम का, अच्छा स्पॉन्सर कर दी पूरे लाइफ टाइम की मील. और एक है कि आपने उसको इतना केपेबल बना दिया कि अब वो अपना ध्यान खुद कर रख सकता है. दैट इज द अल्टीमेट लेवल ऑफ लव, एंड दैट पर्सन डज नॉट नीड यू एनी मोर. दैट इज द अल्टीमेट लेवल ऑफ कंपैशन. कुछ गुरुज होते हैं, वो हमेशा डिसाइपल्स को अपनी छत्र छाया में रखते हैं, और ऐसे कि वो चिपक जाते हैं उनसे, है ना, कि अच्छा गुरु नहीं है तो मतलब क्या हो गया, हमारी तो दुनिया बिल्कुल तहस नहस हो गई. और कुछ गुरुज ऐसे भी होते हैं जो डिसाइपल्स और जो पीपल अराउंड है वो उनको केपेबल बनाते हैं, अपने ऊपर डिपेंडेंट नहीं बनाते, है ना. सो दैट इज अल्टीमेट काइंड ऑफ अ कंपैशन, दैट यू आर benefiting the other so that they can be actually totally independent and not even pay respect or homage or whatever. They may have their inward whatever prayers that may do, but you are not wanting that. You want the other person to be truly independent, because you know how much we suffer when we are not independent. Of course, we are never independent, we are all codependent. But what I am saying is that one finds one's light within oneself. Then we are on our own. कि आपको अब भगवान से टच में आने के लिए किसी बंदे की तलाश करने की जरूरत नहीं है. वो बंदा अपना काम करके चला गया, वो बुक अपने काम करके चली गई. अब वो कनेक्शन आप खुद स्टेबलाइज कर सकते हो. अब बेशक उस बुक को भूल भी जाओ, उस बंदे को भूल भी जाओ, इट डजंट मैटर. सो दैट इज द अल्टीमेट लेवल ऑफ कंपैशन, that you are fine with being a nobody and you don't want your own name to be highlighted कि देख मैंने तेरे साथ ऐसा किया, मेरे को याद रखना, भूलना मत मरते दम तक. So just forgetting about all that, that is ultimate compassion. Yeah, so where were we? Yeah, bodhicitta of intention of. So this verse 8, verse 10, and then further verses also, they talk about this level of aspiration, that I want to gain enlightenment, because I know if I work towards my own enlightenment and liberation, then only I can benefit others around me and my own self. Yeah, anything here? Anyone? Yeah. So we just take last paragraph and then we can stop. Now we can stop here also. We can take the rest later. Actually, we can take the rest later, next time. So this much is enough. I think bit by bit we also need to practice. Otherwise, too much we read and then we get lost. What did we read? At least I get lost. I know about myself. So little bits and pieces, and then implementing them in our life, and always keeping a connect with the inward practice. And why am I doing the inward practice? Because that is how I can benefit my own self. And that is how, if I truly love people around me, I can actually be of benefit to others. In ignorance, I can benefit no one. So let me strive to get out from this ignorance. Ignorance is the prison in which we are trapped. And that is what we have to see and not be trapped. It is possible not be trapped and to live a life relatively in a truer consciousness. For all of us, it is possible. And that is why in soul's choice and supreme consummation, it comes later, that it is possible that since you are true and I am true, this earth and manhood is also true. And it is possible that the divine comes down on earth and this earthly life changes to life divine. We don't have to run away anywhere else. All has to happen here. Inward sadhana, the outward work, everything has to happen here. The more we become sorted inside of us, the more challenges we can take up outside of us. Yeah, so any last comments, anyone? Also, I would like to just add one little thing, that this does not mean that we remain very secluded and we do not engage with people around, that, oh, that, abhi mera kaam chal raha hai, let me do my work, and, I'm trying to find my soul consciousness and rest of the work I'll attend later. It does not go like that. But it's just that inwardly we know that we are unsure of our decisions and thoughts and everything, because we are right now operating from ordinary limited consciousness. And that is why the inward practice we continue, plus the outward work we also continue. And all the time we seek from the divine that may I be guided, may you work through me, because I don't know, I am blind. So you tell me what is the right word to speak. You tell me what is the right action here. How should I behave? So inwardly, all that aspiration should be there, but outwardly, the actions are also important, because through actions only the growth happens. So no need to shut ourselves, that okay, let me find my soul consciousness and then I can. That's not the way. It's just like a parallel, simultaneous process that can happen, must happen. Hanji, we are set. Anything anyone wants to add on? तो आई थिंक अपना 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 काम हमें सबको करना है, एटलीस्ट वो उसकी मोटिवेशन हमें मिली रहे, दैट वी शुड ऑलवेज इनवर्ड प्रैक्टिस हमारी चलती रहे, so that outwardly we can be beneficial. So may all of us be beneficial to the world around and to themselves. We are all beneficial in some or the other little ways. So may all of us be able to express that benefit to our own selves and into the world around. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.